welcome to Good Game Spawn Point, the show for gamers by gamers. I'm Barjo.
And I'm Hex, and today...
And I am Darren.
Hex, did that robot just introduce itself?
Affirmative. Darren. It stands for Data Analyzing Robot for the Ruthless Extermination of Noobs. I have been selected to assist you in the hosting of Good Game Spawn Point.
Okay. Well, hello Darren, and welcome to our very first edition of Good Game SP on ABC3.
That's right, and coming up we get your verdict on the Pokemon series in our very first One Face review.
We tackle some of your gaming questions in Ask Good Game.
I should host that segment.
No. And we accept an invitation to check out a spawn of Australia's Den of Gaming. But first, our very first game review of the year, and it's Might and Magic Clash of Heroes on the DS. Might and Magic has been around for absolutely ages. It started off as a party-based role-playing game, evolved into turn-based strategy, dabbled in first-person action, and now it's in the form of a puzzle game with Might and Magic Clash of Heroes on DS.
This game mixes up fantasy adventuring with the need to shuffle and match army units like you were matching gems in a grid. It seems like your basic puzzle, but it's actually quite strategic. The result is pure addictiveness.
It's the forces of good versus a whole horde of evil vampires, zombies, and stacks of demons, all threatening to overrun the peaceful land of Ashan and turn humans into stew.
When the argy-bargy begins, all your units appear on the bottom DS screen and the enemy assembles on the top screen. It's all about how well you arrange your units across the 8-column grid, with different formations creating different combat effects.
This game is turn-based, and while it's great having the time to ponder your next move, and it suits this type of game, for some reason you have to wait for the AI to do it as well, and it takes ages to select its unit and drop it. Hurry up, you stupid machine, I want my turn.
I take offence at that.
Yeah, there's no option to speed up the AI, so you're going to be doing a bit of thumb twiddling. Of course, this is going to happen as well if you're battling a friend in multiplayer, but at least you can kick them in the shins to hurry them up.
Matching 3 units vertically readies them for an attack, while matching horizontally transforms them into parts of a defensive wall. Which is weird, turning your soldiers into bricks, but whatever. More powerful elite and champion units can also be called into action, but they require special formations to function, and you have to wait multiple turns for their attacks to charge and finally be unleashed.
There's always that trade-off in setting up attack formations, choosing to play defensively or setting things up for a long-term strategic play, which can make for some really nail-biting decisions.
On the surface, it's just like playing a puzzler, but there's all this deep and underlying strategy underneath, which just makes you want to have one more go. Just one more go, one more go.
Go on, have one more go.
One more go.
But yeah, there's heaps to think about on each turn. For instance, your attacks blast up through the column they're in. So the more enemy troops in that column, the less damage you'll do, if you even manage to get past them in the first place.
There are some completely optional side quests and also some tricky challenge missions where you have to eradicate every enemy off the top screen in one turn. They're very tricky to master, Hex, and they hurt my brain.
Noob.
I'm gonna pull out his plug, you know.
Call it a puzzler, a strategy game, whatever. It's strategic, tricky fun. I'm giving it 8.5 out of 10 rubber chickens.
There's enough here for experienced strategy gamers, but it's also easy enough for anyone to pick up and play. I'm giving it 9 out of 10 rubber chickens.
Okay, it's Ask Good Game time, where you ask and we answer.
First up on the Askatron, we've got Ziggy from Melbourne.
I'm playing LEGO Star Wars The Complete Saga for the 360, and I was told by a friend that you can go to LEGO City. Is that true? And if so, how?
It most certainly is true. To get there, you'll need to earn yourself 10 gold bricks, which isn't hard. Then you just build the door in the bonus area, and you've unlocked LEGO City. Simple as that.
The real challenge here, though, is getting yourself 1 million studs, which should keep you busy for a little while. Next, we've got this one from Sally in Perth.
I have 2 brothers and a sister and a Wii console, but most of the games only give us 3 save slots. What can we do?
Well, the good news is there is a solution. The bad news is you're gonna need an SD card.
Yeah, you can actually back up your save data to an SD card, so what you could do is back up the save for whoever isn't playing at the time, create your own save over the top of theirs, and when they want to play, they can just back up yours and import their save back up over the top of yours.
That sounds a bit complicated, not to mention risky.
Yeah, it could be simpler, but at least it's a workaround. Just be extremely careful to make sure all the saves are definitely backed up before you go deleting or overwriting anything, or there will be tears, or violence, or probably both.
That's good advice. Well, that's it for this week, gamers. If there's a question bugging you, why don't you bug us with it by jumping on here and sending us an email?
I dropped my coffee.
Cool.
Yeah. What about...
Lame.
What? It's Sonic.
Lame.
What about this?
Cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. You know, Darren, when you fall off the ledge, mistime that crucial jump, or step on something nasty, games always let you come back for another go. But restarting is a little harder in real life.
Speak for yourself, meat creature.
Coming out of standby mode doesn't count, Darren.
Engage sulk mode.
Anyway, this is the spot in the show where we take a look at what makes up a video game. This week, we're dissecting the spawn point, that place in the game where you restart from when you die.
Off we go.
Lots of games have spawn points, but they all work slightly differently. Back in the early days of gaming, a spawn point was a source of unlimited enemies, like in the dungeon romp Gauntlet. Attacking the enemies was pointless unless you first destroyed the spot where they were spawning from, like ants. These days, a spawn point means the place your character starts the game or where you reappear after you stuff up. In an old game like Pac-Man, which all takes place on one screen, you would always respawn in the same convenient spot just below the ghost box. But as games got way bigger, you would usually get the chance to continue part of the way through the level. This means you wouldn't have to redo the whole level again. Nowadays, there are also checkpoints like in Sonic Unleashed.
Here we go!
Or the game will dump you back in the action at a point just before you died. Of course, you shouldn't take your spawn points for granted because games like to punish you for stuffing up too, like when you get lifted back onto the track in Mario Kart, which seems to take forever.
The solution is easy, Hex. Don't make mistakes.
We're not all as robotically efficient as you, Darren. Time now to meet the spawn of Australian gaming and their dad, Chris.
Hi, we're the Georges. I'm Chris.
I'm Harrison.
I'm Lachlan.
And we're
And
gamers.
we're gamers.
My earliest recollection of gaming would be we had the old Tandy tennis, basic tennis type thing, or a soccer type thing with the paddles with the dials and the like.
I can't remember when I started gaming because it was so long ago. My favourite game of all time would probably be Sonic Riders. You get a hoverboard and you get to ride around cities and factories and whatever.
Daddy, stop smashing into me. I'm just about killed. My favourite game is Destruction Derby Arena. And you get to smash into other cars and sometimes you get to blow them up on fire.
My gaming's definitely influenced the kids' gaming because, I've tried to get them into the sport-related games, which are a favourite genre of mine. Also, like a lot of the Game & Watch games. This is our Game & Watch collection that our family's collected over a number of years. I had some of the games as a child and we've added to it as the years have gone on. They were brought out by Nintendo, which the first game came out in 1980. There's 59 unique games that came out over the period. We have one of each of the unique games that were issued. We do play them. We try to keep them in good condition, of course, but they're all in working order, and we love playing them.
I like the collection a lot, and my favourite would be Snoopy. You have to move along and hit the music notes, or otherwise you wake up the birds.
This one's my favourite and it's called Octopus. You have to go under the sea and get the treasure without touching any of the octopus's tentacles. It was very fun.
The old games that Dad liked to play are very different from the games today. I love Duck Hunt because you can shoot the ducks and it's very accurate. It's not hard to shoot like some arcade games. It's easy and simple.
That was you on the top, Lachlan. I think it's fantastic that there's a couple of generations of gamers in our household. It gives us certainly something in common.
I think we'll be playing games together forever because we all enjoy playing games together.
big thank you to Chris, Harrison and Lachlan for letting us into their den of gaming. If you'd like Good Game to come and visit your place, there are details of how to apply on our website.
But if you'd rather not be invaded, then you can also show off your gamer cred by joining the Good Game SP clan, and you can do that. Now, it's no secret that I didn't like the last Olympic game very much at all. It was a waggle fest of extreme proportions. Darren, explain to the viewers what a waggle fest is.
Affirmative, Barjo. A wagglefest is the term used for a game which predominantly involves you waggling joysticks or a controller as fast as possible.
The latest Olympic game is covered in snow and it's called Vancouver 2010. Darren, a brief history on the Winter Olympic Games, if you will.
Negative. I only contain game-related information in my database.
I don't know much about sport either, Darren. I think you and I will get on just fine, but I do know that before you start any sporting event, you need to limber up and stretch. That's better. Vancouver 2010 sees you hurtling down various slopes of snow in events that all kind of feel the same, just with different equipment. There's not so much waggling here, controls are more about timing and guiding your competitor around the track, and that inherently makes it better than the previous game, Beijing Olympics 2008. Tutorials do an okay job. Even so, there's just not enough variety here to keep you entertained for long, and it might just be a symptom of the Winter Olympic Games, but where was the curling? There was no curling.
Does not compute.
Certainly doesn't, Darren. Whilst the competitors look good and the events look good, and there's even some camera shake, rumble, and some low-budget lens flares, the most fun you'll have here is watching your competitor fall off his equipment and whack into flags. These games are much more fun when played with others, and you can go online with this one, but what you really want to do is sit side by side with your family and your friends.
Whatever you reckon.
But you can almost forget about split screen on this one because most of the events are hot potatoes, so you have to wait for the other person to have their turn before you can have yours, and quite frankly, it's just not good enough. It's rubbish. 3 out of 10 rubber chickens.
Gamers, we really want to know what you think, what your verdict is in all of the games out there. So in the name of science, we've come up with the ultimate formula for analysing public opinion, the Spawn Point One Face Review.
We ask you to pull a facial expression that best represents your feelings on a game, along with an awesome, average, or awful verdict. Take a photo and send it in to us, and we'll calculate the results using cutting-edge facial analysis software and biometric algorithms. Or, failing that, Darren. Now, Hex, which is the first game up for public scrutiny?
Pokemon. Either you love it so much that you can't squish enough Pikachu into your day, or you hate it like the smell of old dog farts. It is, without a doubt, the perfect specimen for our first ever One Face review.
Gotta catch 'em all! Gotta catch 'em all! Pokemon!
Pokemon, which is a merging of the words pocket and monster, debuted back in the mid-1990s with the release of Red and Blue on the first Game Boy. The game was invented by Nintendo's Satoshi Tajiri, who had always been fascinated with collecting the bugs in his garden. Gotta catch 'em all.
There have been a heap of Pokemon games released, from the colour-themed companion games like Ruby and Sapphire, Fire Red and Leaf Green, and Diamond and Pearl, through to weird spin-offs like Pokemon Pinball and Pokemon Puzzle League. The secret to the success of the series is that the formula has barely changed from the first installment. You explore the world, capture Pokemon in the wild with your Pokeballs, and then train them up by pitching them in battle so they evolve into even more powerful forms. Heart Gold and Soul Silver are even on the way this year, and we imagine it will be more of the same.
Pokemon is regularly classified as a role-playing game, but it also has the addictive elements of pet simulation and options for players to trade stuff and battle each other. There are now close to 500 individual Pokemon to cram into your Pokedex. The most popular of which is arguably that little yellow bundle of electrical joy Pikachu. But almost every type of critter has its admirers, and the series has become so huge that there are now comics, TV shows, movies, songs, trading card games, and toys galore, even an entire theme park in Japan.
We hit up the Good Game forums over the break for your viewer verdict on the Pokemon series. All your weird and wonderful picks have been fed into Darren for analysis, so are we ready? What are the results, you old bucket of bolts? I mean that in a nice way.
Starting program. Processing news. Processing news. Analysis complete. The verdict is an overwhelming awesome for Pokemon. Repeat, that is a majority vote for awesome.
Next time around, we're going to process your verdict on RuneScape, so go take your one-face review snap.
Barjo, Hex, how do you get Pikachu on a bus?
No idea.
You Pokemon. Ha ha ha.
Well, that's it for our very first episode of Good Game SP.
We'll be back next weekend with more gaming goodness. You can find out more about the show on our website here. And while you're there, join our forums and say hi to your fellow gamers.
Don't forget to put in your one-face reviews on RuneScape. Until next time, gamers, Barjo out.
Hex out.
Darren out.